Hello everyone! Here's a lesson about story critical character settings and objects. So we've been working on this for quite a while, and I want to talk a little bit more about how to develop our writing. So first thing we want to acknowledge is after we identify the story critical character setting or object, we need to understand the difference between general and specific detail. So, what does that mean for your writing? That means that when you are going to write a story, let's say about a magical box, am I going to spend a lot of time maybe describing the setting where I find the box, or maybe would I opt to describe the box itself? So first we need to decide, what are we going to elaborate on? The character, setting, or object, or maybe two of those things. Next is, are we going to use, or can we use general or specific detail? So let's take a deeper look at that. Okay, so imagine I come into school and I'm like, wow, I have an awesome dog. What does that tell you about my dog? Well, what dog would you pick out? If you've never seen a picture of my dog, what dog would you pick out of here? Would you know which dog I'm talking about based on me saying, my dog is an awesome dog? The answer is nothing. So this adjective tells the reader nothing. Absolutely nothing. So here's the thing, is that we want to avoid using general adjectives. Like if I say, Madame Andrews is awesome. Madame Andrews is cool. Madame Andrews is fun. She's funny. She's pretty. She's nice. Are those telling you a lot about specifically what I like about Madame Andrews? No. So when we go back to a dog, which dog do you think this is? So I want you to look at all these pictures, and then I'm going to read this little sample to you, and you decide, which dog is this? This buff-colored pup has a stocky, strong little body and a round, wrinkly face. His short, floppy ears and muzzle are black. This short-haired dog tips his head slightly to the side, or tips his head to the side. His long pink tongue lolls out of his mouth. He looks at me with kind, wide-set eyes that seem to say, let's play. So, in my head, I think that the author has described this dog here. That tells me a lot more than saying my dog is awesome. I just described this awesome dog. So I want you to decide, which description is better? The dog was awesome, or the one that we just read? In my opinion, I think this one, this second example that I gave, gives more specific detail, and it's a lot more interesting for me to read. Okay, now I want you to look at the pictures of the chickens and their babies below. Which picture is the author describing with specific details? Bobbing her head and clucking softly, the other hen pranced proudly around the yard with her tiny fluffy chicks following close behind. Well, I see four pictures of chickens. I see one picture without chicks, so I know it's not that one. And then I'm looking for fluffy chicks following close behind. Well, this is the only picture that I see like that. So based on the specific details given by the author, this is what I'm most likely to think about in my head when I read that passage. So, how do you cook up powerful, vivid details? And we do that by using detail-generating questions. Okay, so now I want you to think of story-critical characters. What do they look like? What do they smell like? What is their hair like? How are they feeling? What are they experiencing? I wonder what some questions I could think about for my story critical setting. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it dark? Is it dirty? Are the colors vivid and bright like nothing I've ever seen before? Did the sky light up? I guess, what are some questions that you could think about that are specific to each place? Or what are some questions that you could think about that help you to imagine each place or help to put you in that place? Now, what about a story critical object? Imagine that you stumbled across this crown. How would you describe a crown? If I say, I found a crown, and meanwhile, I show you the crown, and this is what I show you, and there's all of these sapphires and diamonds, and it's sparkly, and guess what? It's actually really heavy too. It's beautiful. It's probably the most expensive thing I've ever held in my hand. If I say I found a crown versus what I just explained to you, what would be more attention grabbing? So when you are writing your stories, I want you to focus on, what is my story critical object, character, or setting, or maybe I've got two of them. And then I want for you to think about ways that you can describe it, that where you're not just telling me what I see, but you're telling me how you feel or what you experienced, or maybe the sensation in your body when you found it, or what your hair was doing when you stepped outside. I want you to think of ways that you can be creative to give me more information by giving more specific details. So here's an example. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm going to give you a chance to pause the screen to read Mr. Willy Wonka. So this is just the first page. And then look at the detail generating questions. So look at how specific these questions are. Please pause if you want to read the page and look at the questions. Okay, and here are some detail generating questions as well. I would like for you to think about these as you're writing, and remember that this is not just for grade 5. This is something that I hope that you'll use going forward. Be specific. Use elaborative detail to put the reader in the story. I hope that this lesson was helpful, and I look forward to seeing what you guys are capable of. Thank you.